Hey guys, apparently I'm not supposed to say hey guys, it is uncool, but I just did. I normally don't do videos about stuff I'm selling, but I'm doing one today because I have a couple listings up and I'll link from the listings to here so that people can see details about the stuff I'm selling. Let's start with a couple things first as to why this is happening. This is a Hyperlow RS Plus. There's a video on here about the actual frame itself. I'll put it above and also put the link in the description. This is a 5S quad. It is going to be my main freestyle rig as far as 5S goes. I'm actually going to build another one just like this, and I'm trying to consolidate and fly most of the same stuff, so I'll have like a couple of exact builds or replica builds of so that the backups are the same. And this comes from a lot of testing that I've done this year on stuff that I like and stuff that I prefer. Some things are not very different, but there's a slight edge about why I like something over something else. And this is one of the reasons I'm selling some of the things I am selling, because I'm just focusing on a couple of specific builds, right? Then as far as racing goes, this is a Hyperlow RS. This is an RS Plus. This is an RS. The other one's an RS Plus. This is an RS. And this one's 4-inch. I've been doing a lot of testing on these. I still fly these a lot. I'm moving more to 5-inch 6S. But this is still pretty fun to fly, even though it's a little bit slower. And I'm definitely keeping this. And then as far as 6S goes, right now this is one of my favorite ones, which is FPV Flight Club Neutron, and it's running Flight 1. And then I also have a video you can see in the description for the newbie drone flyby, which are both 6S, the way I'm building them. So I'm moving some of my 4S quads and selling them, and that doesn't mean I'm gonna completely switch over to 5S and 6S. I also have some reverbs that fly 4S only and like them a lot. I'm just trying to consolidate the fleet a little bit. So I'll tell you more about those builds now. So let's start with the Hyperlow CG. Now this quad here is already listed. You might have seen it on Instagram or on RC groups or Facebook. And but I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it here now. It's running Flight 1, the latest stuff. So sim mode, you know, the latest betas. Revolt OSD with a Bolt 32 ESC. It has a Lumineer TX something or other. You know what it is. I don't know the exact model. VTX on there that does up to 500 milliwatts. It has channel control, whatever they call it. It's not smart audio, but it's not connected. So you would either have to run it or press buttons. It's MMCX and it's running down to an SMA that has this TBS Triumph. The wiring is very clean. Solder joints are perfect. The ESC is conformally coated. The FC and the VTX aren't, because I was going to do those later. It has a Runcam Mini in there with a 1.8 lens, which is the one that Kebab was hyping a lot last year, which is a very good lens, very wide, very clear. The motors are Brother Hobby 2207 2400 kV. And it has race wire, as I like to do this on most of the 4-in-1 builds, so it's easy to swap out motors, and it also protects the wiring. It's all the FC is soft mounted with the gummies, but the motors are hard mounted with steel motors. It has a pad at the bottom because I used to run it upside down, and it also has a pad at the top. This would allow you to run a normal battery here, and if you want to go long range with it, you can put a big old battery in the bottom. The reason I mentioned long range is it comes with 5-inch arms, but I'm selling it with a set of 6-inch arms as well. These are all chamfered. These are the build has some flight, but it's about 9 out of 10 condition. These are new. I'm also including a brand new motor with it, and yeah, it's a great build. It flies really well on 4S. I also fly 5S on it. If you tune the pits down, if you swap out the motors, it is 6S capable, so it's up to you. It gets a little bit more prop wash than I like, but I'm not really good at tuning filters on Flight 1 because I'm kind of brand new to it. So otherwise it flies very cleanly. There's a link in the description for Instagram. There's a video where this is flying. You'll see how it flies. You would have to probably tune a little bit more so you can get rid of the prop wash, but as far as the actual flight goes, it flies very cleanly. It doesn't come with a receiver. It used to have Crossfire in it, but I took it out, so it's up to you to put the receiver that you want for it, whether it's S-Bus, FrSky, R9, or CRSF. I don't include receivers always because not everybody runs the same system, so it doesn't. And it has the GoPro mount included as well. So you're free to swap out to 6-inch arms and run 5-inch props or 6-inch props. It's up to you. I'm not putting pricing in the video, so you gotta check out the listings. I'll put links to them below. And if you see this video later and they've all been sold, well, you should have acted faster. Okay, so that's one of them. Then we have this FK-R. This is a RockStarKwads FK-R. This build has been flown a lot. It was flown in OGR, local races, and this and that. So it has a lot of wear. But where the Hyperlow is being sold for a high price because of what it's worth, this one is gonna be very low and out the door very cheap. So it'll be a very good either beater or starter race quad or just a spare. It just fly really good. For the price, it's great. The bearings are still plenty smooth for a racer. I've tested it. It has some grinding on the tips there because I do fly it over pavement. But as you can see, it's in very good shape still. It has a brand new Runcam Racer 1 in there that I put when I cleaned it up for sale. By the way, all these I clean up real nice with alcohol and a Q-tip. Go over the whole thing to make sure all the solder joints, everything is good before I list them up for sale. So brand new Runcam Racer I put in there. It has a Betaflight F3. Yes, I know it's an older board, but then again, this is not a brand new build. You can still run the latest Betaflight on it with certain restrictions. It has an XM Plus receiver already installed, so if you run FrSky, all you gotta do is bind and go. The ESCs are IS30 SpeedX, and the motors are MB, so Multicopter Builder 2207 2580 KB. It's a good 4S build. It's not designed for 5S or 6S, so you have to run 4S. There's a pad on the top, so you can run top mount with a low 20mm deck, or if you want, you can also run bottom mount. There's a way to feed the strap either way, and the wire main leads go up or down just fine. I'm not including an antenna because I just don't have enough spare antenna, so you would have to supply your SMA antenna, whichever is your favorite. A stubby will fit there. Axi and also Pagoda will fit just fine. There's enough clearance with the props, and it does have a programmable LED already there. It's flashed with an old version of Butterflight, so it's up to you what you want to. You could go fly it with that, see how it flies, and then flash it with something new from Betaflight, which is really good stuff. Oh, it also has a Unify Race HV VTX, so you know it has a very good VTX in there. And finally, I'm including 2 arms with it, if I can find them. I know I had them here somewhere, so there should be. Right, so I don't know where I put the arms, but I'm including 2 arms with it. One of them has a slight chip in one of the layers of the carbon, the other one is perfectly fine. But they're both very strong, so I'm including them so you have spares of them. This is the stretch version. It's good to have a couple spares of it anyway. Okay, I keep looking around for the arms, but I don't know where I put it. But anyway, it's included. And I'll include props with it. It'll come with 553s, I believe. But you can try whatever you want. I like lower pitch props, so you might want to run something else. Okay, this guy. This. It's also for sale. This is an XHover Win 5 modified. Modified because normally these are top mounted with a 30 or 30mm or 35mm deck, and they're usually bottom mounted. But I built mine slammed, so I can top mount. You could also bottom mount if you want, if you raise the FC a little bit. But it's built at 15mm, so it's a great low mounted deck for top mounting. It has a Motolab Tempest F4, which is still my favorite board for builds that have individual ESCs, unless it's KISS, for example. It's a PDB board, so you don't need any other PDBs or anything like that. Fantastic board. The ESCs are GS30 SpeedX, so they're BL Heli 32. And it has a cap, a 680 microfarad 35 volt cap, a Unify HV Pro Race that's connected to there, and it has a RunCam mini camera. There's no RX, there's no receiver. You have to supply your own receiver. It was running CRSF, so it's up to you what you want to run to it. I am including the wire that is for the receiver. It goes here, and you just wire your receiver to it, stick it in there. There's no soldering unless you gotta solder this side, but apart from that, it goes in there. If you want to run Spectrum, there's another plug next to it you have to solder it to in order to run Spectrum, but it does run Spectrum. The motors are Hyperlight 2207, 25, 22 kV, so they are meant for 4S. They still have plenty of life in them. They do have a couple scrapes and scratches, but not bad. But as you can see, they spin straight and true, and the bearings are pretty quiet. So that's good. It's meant for 4S. Like I said, if you swap out the motors, you can get away with running 6S. Even on the GS30s, if you run with something like 1700 kV, a lot of people run those on DCSCs just fine. Everything else on there except 6S just fine, or 5S. But you have to swap out motors in lower pitch, by the way. I'm not including an antenna either, because like I said, I don't have enough of them. So it's up to you to supply an SMA antenna for it, as well as a receiver. If you look at the bottom side of it, it includes brand new arm guards that I just I had them there, so I put them on before I sold them. Before I put it up for sale, they're brand new. The screws are, the bolts are 75 aluminum, so they're very good. They have a couple of scrapes, but no grinding at all, so they're fine. These are titanium, steel, and the stress points. And it's got a tiny little crack here on the top plate, but you can barely tell. So it's really strong and fine otherwise. That's it for this guy. It comes with some version of Betafly, I think 3 point something or other. You can flash the latest, up to you, but it flies really well, and it's a good, reliable, strong, they can take hits race quad. That's up for sale too. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. So finally, we have this guy. Now, this guy is brand new. I built it for myself, like all these months ago, and I never actually flew it because I think I built too many quads and then ended up not flying this one. This quad is based on the old Wind 5s that I flew for about a year, which are based on lightweight 5-inch 4S builds, and they run a KISS CC. I love the KISS CC. I've been running it for a long time. I have about 8 of them. I have never burnt a single one. Flying them on 4-inch 4S and 5S, and on 5-inch 4S on small motors. They have a limiter, so you gotta be careful on what you run, but it'll do 2204 motors, 2205 motors, up to a 4.5 pitch prop. The 4.5 pitch prop on the 2205 2500 kV motors does hit the limiter, so I run 4.3s just in case. JFK FPV runs these motors on 4S with a 4.5 inch props hitting the limiter just fine. I prefer lower pitch props. These are 4.3s, by the way. So it's based on this. The only difference is this one's brand new, a little bit higher deck, and it has the 6mm arms, which make for a very durable build. It is pretty light for the 6mm arms, and to show you what I mean, I'll give you the weight as it sits. So dry weight on it is 266 grams. Add 2 or 3 grams for the antenna, and basically in a strap, and you have a 270 gram quad, which is very light for 5-inch. And this one on here has brand new 2205 2522 kV Hyperlight motors. It will come with 2 spare motors, 2 brand new spare motors in box. So you'll have these 4 and 2 spares. The props of choice are 4.3 V1S. It's what I recommend on it. I don't recommend the 4.5s because you do hit the limiter. So it's definitely, this is better. Like I said, a KISS CC. It has 1.3 RC30 KISS firmware, and that's the one I recommend. Even though it's a year old, it's very good firmware, better than the one that came after, in my opinion. It has a Unify Pro Race VTX wired with smart audio to the KISS CC through the Lua script. It has a Runcam Sparrow 2 Pro camera with a 1.8 lens, very wide, brand new as well. Everything is conformal coated, so this is ready to get wet basically. It does come with a CRSF Nano RX, so it's Crossfire. I'll put a price in the listing with and without a receiver in case you run something else, but it's on there, so I'll leave it on. And this one is brand new, so I don't want to touch it like the other ones. Race wire to protect those wires and easy motor swaps if you break something. Trying to keep the weight low, I've only put arm guards at the front, not at the back, which is the ones that take the most grunt of the hit. It comes with an LED, it's programmable, already connected. You just program it right through the GUI. There's their Moto T. These is 70-75 alloy hardware, so it's really good and very light. Has steel in the center. And let me see what else I'm missing. Landing pads, and yeah, the FC is soft mounted. It has space for top mounting the battery, not bottom mounting. The deck is 20 mil, so it's pretty low, and it has a 330 microfarad 35 volt cap on it. Of course, the price on this one is going to be higher than the other ones, mainly because it is brand new. But still a fantastic quad. Is a great backup, is a great main quad, and if you like lightweight builds, it is definitely the way to go. And that'll do it. Eventually, this guy, I'm gonna clean it up, and it'll be for sale too. But I'm replacing motors on it, new arms, and cleaning it up nicely before I list it. But the other ones are already ready to go. So, yeah. Any questions? Comment below. Like I said, I normally don't do what I have for sale, but I want to inform people that are looking at the listings of what I have for sale. Everything works, everything's fine, you're still responsible for it, so be careful. If you solder a receiver to it, don't screw up. And yeah, and then I had go like this video, subscribe, share, tell your friends, come buy quads. Thanks.